everybody. Welcome to the National Real Estate Post, the NRP Daily here on the National Real Estate Post. I'm here once again with Kimber White, president of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. How you doing, Kimber?
Good. How are you today, Frank?
I'm doing good. Glad to hear you had a good holiday. So did I. So that's nice. But I wanted to dive into this. I think this is important for us, and obviously being the president of NAMB, since you guys are so connected to the Hill, you know, and everything that's going on politically. I felt like it was important for us just to kind of talk about what the Biden administration might look like for us with respect to the CFPB. The scuttlebutt is that Biden would more than likely choose Richard Cordray to come back and head up the CFPB. And then, of course, we've got Yellen coming into the Treasury, but it's the deputy treasurer that is kind of a concern on your part that we need to talk about. But let's just talk about real quick what we think might go down here, because in my opinion, and we talked about this, I think that, we get Cordray back into the CFPB, and I think that the crosshairs of the CFPB are probably going to move back onto the mortgage space again, simply because there's so much money being made. There's so many transactions getting done. And this is that Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. There's a lot of consumer activity going on in this space right now. My feeling is that, the CFPB is probably going to take another, kind of take a harder look at what's going on in our space, both in the banking world and in the broker world. Your feelings, you feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't think that Cordray will probably make it, because I think there's too many Republicans in the Senate that's going to put him there. Even Pat Toomey was, against him and said he was too hardcore whenever that was the last time. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be Cordray, but I do think that you're absolutely right that they're going to have strong enforcement action. It's definitely going to move away. I think Kraninger will go. I think it'll move away from that. It'll be a stronger enforcement. You just mentioned Yellen. I think she was great when she was Fed chair. I think we all know she did a good job. But with her assistant there, who was a chief of staff and who was chief of staff during 2010 for 16 months, which is with the formation of the CFPB. So he knows the inner workings, he knows regulations. He was, mentored by Elizabeth Warren, who we know helped create the beast of the CFPB, the good and the bad of it. So I think that there is going to be a change. I think we're going to see difference there. I think we're going to see a lot of regulation. I know that NAMB right now is trying to work through it, because we know that the CFPB has already told us that the 3% rule was just a verbiage that should have already been corrected. We're working to try to get that corrected. We're trying to get some corrections done before the new administration comes in. I think it's going to be a lot harder. I think there's going to be more oversight. I think there's going to be more regulation. There's going to be more fines. And I think that it's going to start with the broker community, but I think it's going to be the big banks too, because Warren, as we know, have gunned for the banks and regulation. I think that you're going to see an administration that's going to be very consumer-based. We're going to have to work with them. We're going to have to make sure that our loan officers are educated. We're going to have to reach out to the CFPB and say, we understand, we want to help the consumer, we want to educate, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the industry isn't stifled. So we've got, the day of going in there guns blazing, we know how that worked under the Cordray CFPB. But I do think you're going back to regulations. Our lobbyists both say that. We are going back to enforcement. I think that is going to be out of the gate. It is something that Biden can just automatically take care of. And I think that's going to be one of his top 5 things is enforcement, watching after, taking care of consumers. And I think we've got a little rough road, I think, ahead of us on this.
Interesting. So that's my concern too. Like, it could get a little tough, just because, like you had said before, prior to, the Trump administration coming in, we had Cordray, who really did rule with an iron fist. It was, hey, I'm going to come in and find the crap out of you for something you did wrong. And that's how the lenders realized, oh, we're doing something wrong. It was by getting the fine. And the minimum fine we would see back then was, oh, we're going to start at 80,000, and then we're going to go up potentially into the millions from there. So that's my concern going into the new administration, knowing how things are going to change. And he even brought up corridor himself, which would be like, wow, what in the heck would that be? So the best way for us to, as originators, whether we're banking or brokering, to prepare ourselves for this or to line up for this is, again, we'll bring it back to what you're saying, is more of being just really educated as to what's going on. Is that what your thought is?
Yeah, we have to be educated. Under the Cranager and Republican administration, we've had more, I call transparency with the CFPB. Like you said, it wasn't aha, gotcha. There was much more communication, much more guidance, much more, I call it, ability to understand and not get fined, and much more clarity, I think, in a lot of the things.
Yeah.
I think you're going to go back to strict thing and education. Number one, you need to know what's going on. You need to make sure you're educated. You have to understand that the enforcement's going to happen. If you're in the broker world, I think that you're going to see a lot more regulatory agencies on top of you. I think that we have to do our education. This is why NAMB's come up with NAMB University, with our master classes, to educating, to participating, having your voice in the industry. Because right now, here we go again, we do have an issue. Look, we're going to have an administration that's going to be great for consumers, great for first-time home buyers, great for getting people back to work, I think, but they're going to be strict on regulation. They're going to be strict on all types of regulation, and our industry is going to be put under a microscope again. I think that the top of it, again, is going to be enforcement. We have to educate ourselves. We have to make sure we know where we're going. We have to make sure what we're doing, but we have to make sure that, running the days of doing our loans and saying, well, we don't have to worry about it because it's not as bad. No, I think you're going to be having, like you said, that bullseye target, that we have to make sure we have the right people in Washington, which we have our two lobbyists at NAMB, and the other industries, which I'm sure that, MBA and other industries partners will be doing, that we make sure we're on the Hill, we're lobbying, so that we don't get back to, I call it the Cordray days of the left pendulum. We kind of went back right, the way I look at it, under the Trump administration. You kind of went right, kind of sort of to the Wild West again, to where, yeah, it's okay, interpretation from the left that was, let's just, strangulate, let's just go out and shoot first and then tell you that you did something wrong. There's got to be a happy median, and I think we have to be in the conversation to make sure that we don't have that far left coming back again, as far as that high, tight enforcement and regulation on our industry.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I was gonna say, the nice thing about being connected to the NAMB organization is that you guys are there on the Hill. So going forward, you guys will know what's happening very quickly, because you're literally connected over there. And so you can disseminate information to your membership very quickly on, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, so that we as originators know how to work within that, or maybe change some things that we're doing. I think all originators, at least the good ones that are out there today, everybody wants financial protection for the consumer. Nobody wants to screw the consumer.
Absolutely.
So, and I think in that, with that mindset, I think we all support the CFPB. I do. I mean, I support the notion of it and whatnot. But when we change administrations, with the change of administration and getting new people in charge that could really change the disposition of these people and how they operate, I think it's incredibly important that as originators, whether you're a banker, broker, doesn't matter, that we're up to speed and up to date on everything that's going on with them, so we know how to adjust our business and our company, et cetera, which is why it's so important to be attached to NAMB, right?
Well, yes, one thing we'll say, and John Hudson is our government affairs chair, and he says this, we want to be a part, and I agree with this, we want to be a part of the CFPB as far as helping them and making sure the consumers are protected, consumers are taken care of. But we also want to make sure that our industry is treated fairly, and that we are and do have a seat at the table. That's what we've always said at NAMB, and we've always been invited in, and we do have a seat, and we do have our lobbyists, and who've always been there and understand what's going on, and has insiders of things that's happening. And I think now with the split administration more than ever, Republican president, barely, Democratic president, Republican going out, Democratic president coming in, barely Republican, the Democratic held Congress that's barely held. And now we don't know until after January whether it's going to be Democrat or Republican Senate. It's going to be a different world. But as far as the president's concerned and that administration, you already see who they're putting in. Even though they're moderate, there's a lot of the old guard as far as making sure that the consumer is protected, which we all want to protect it. But there's that regulation side coming in and that enforcement. And we have to make sure it doesn't go back to everyone's bad. You know, and I think that's what we got the bad rap of. We talked about this before. We got the bad rap.
Right.
That, oh, y'all are the bad guys. And
Right.
we're not. We're out there. The majority of us are making a living, but we want to be educated. I will say, you know, what's said here in Florida, the Office of Financial Regulation has always said here that the people that are members of the state association in Florida or your national associations, they are the people that really aren't doing bad things because they're educated and they know what they're doing. And a lot of times when you're not, when I say you're doing bad things, is you're doing things that you don't understand or you don't know because you're not educated.
Right. Got it.
And that's why it's important to be a part of your local state association, NAMB, the National Association, so you can be educated. You can have the tools. You know what's going on. You can be a part. And we need those voices more than ever going into, and I said this to a lot of my wholesale partners the past month, more than ever, NAMB is needed on the Hill. Because 2021 through 24, the next administration, our voice is needed there. It isn't kind of coasting anymore. It's now we have to be active, we have to have action, and we have to be engaged. And members have to engage, and every MLO has to engage so that we don't go back to the Cordray days.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, the fact that you guys have a seat at the table is absolutely important. And this is why, you know, for all you guys watching the mortgage space, banker, broker, doesn't matter. It's like, this is why it's so important to support, you know, the association, who's there for you, who's at the table. You know, I think NAMB's, I think it's only $120 a year to join NAMB.
It's 150. It's 150 with your benefits now. And the other thing I'll say, as a 33-year broker, I know what everyone goes through. So I am leading the organization as a broker who understands daily, a producing broker, what each person is going through. I know what we're going through. So that's even better because I actually have a voice that I can say for us and along with our lobbyists, I know. So I'm not just someone sitting here that's just sitting there going, oh, well, I can understand. No, I really understand. Right. I'm in the trenches every day.
All right, guys. Yeah, let's keep our finger on the pulse with what's going to happen going into 2021. If you're not already a NAMB member, please become one so you can be tuned in to everything that's going on, and you can be part of that voice that's at that seat, at that table, you know, working alongside the CFPB, you know, to hopefully make sure that everybody's operating the way that they need to operate so we don't get fined or lose our position or lose our careers over something that we, you know, foolish that we didn't really understand. So all right, great. Good enough, guys. I'm going to put the NAMB banner down below where you can click that. You can become a member if you haven't already. And then we'll just keep tuning in with Kimber and NAMB every week going forward, just to keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening up there, so that you guys will know, you know, what's going on right here on the NRP Daily National State Post with NAMB. So thanks so much, Kimber.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, you guys have a great one. We'll have you back next week. You guys take it easy. Leave us your comments down below. Forward, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, you can get our mobile app by doing this.
Download the National Real Estate Post mobile app today. Available on Apple Store and Google Play. Just search National Real Estate Post.